Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start in just a minute or two. We're just waiting on a few more people to jump on. So there's Chris. Chris, I like your picture for Zoom.
I forgot to have that one up there.
I think we are expecting about 5 more people.
Okay, we got Miss Celine, Selin. She posted the free class. We have Jess as well. And then a few others. So make sure to add those in. And we'll go ahead and start right now. And we'll tailor it moving forward. People will record this. I'm at our La Jolla location right here, Santa Monica, or not Santa Monica. We have one in Santa Monica, but we're gonna help you all pass NASM ASAP. So, the one thing we all have in common, what do you think it is?
Am I unmuted?
You're good.
Good. Passion for education.
Passion for education, yes. I would also.
I mean, in regards to in the fitness realm.
Yeah, as trainers, I would say that we all have one common thing. Some people don't give a rat's ass about education, but you guys are showing up, so you do care about it. But I would say the most common thing would be we all want to help people. And I've been doing this for 20 plus years. Only one time in my career has someone said they didn't want to help. And it was an 18-year-old kid, God bless his horny little soul. And he said he just wanted to meet chicks. And I'm like, I don't know if that's, really going to work. But besides that, every single person, they want to help people. And that's what we can help you guys do, is get through this test. So I've been teaching for well over 10 years. I started out at a school called MPTI, and the curriculum that we had was NASM based. And that's why we've helped so many people pass this. Over 4,600 people now. That's why I left, is because I didn't have the reins to go outside of that doctrine. And so this isn't a call to educate you on movement or programming. It's a call strictly to pass NASM. I had a class in college, and it was supposedly one of the hardest classes for poli-sci. And I buddied up with the teacher's aide, and I remember studying this crazy guide, and there's all this stuff to pass the test. And he would just tell me, don't study that. Don't study that. Don't worry about that. Just focus on that. And he told me exactly, he wasn't giving me the answers per se. Like, I don't work for NASM. I don't have any affiliation with NASM. I appreciate NASM's business side. They're a great marketing company. They spend a boatload of money to get in front of people. And that's probably how you came across NASM. You probably came across NASM first before Show Fitness CPT, but they do a really great job at that. And so our intent today is strictly to laser focus on what is going to be on the exam. Again, we don't have people reporting to us, hey, secret answers and like that. Teaching this stuff for numerous years. It's the meat and potatoes of how you're going to pass it. And that's all we want you to know. And so people will reach out and say, hey, can you really go into detail in bioenergetics? No, that's not my job as to help you pass NASM. Now, when you go through and you continue education into your level 1s and 2s, we have professors. I teach bioenergetics. We get into the real details of that, but you're not going to be tested on it. The question you might see from NASM when it comes to bioenergetics, a sprinter primarily has what type of muscle fibers? Answer A is going to say 1. Answer B will say 1A. Answer 2 will say 2. And then answer D will say 3. And what would the answer be for that one?
Type 1.
For a sprinter?
Oh, I'm sorry. Type 2. He's using bigger muscles. I'm sorry.
Yep. There you go. So sprinters are primarily utilizing type 2 muscle fibers, fast twitch, explosive.
Yeah.
They are anaerobic, more proximal versus distal. And one of the things that we really found is the terminology when taking these exams can be kind of confusing. So we like to just pound and just make you really understand the fundamentals. So the fundamentals start with that orientation terminology, such as distal versus proximal. Who could tell me what that definition means?
Distal will be further away. Proximal would be closer to, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever
So,
source or the,
there you go. And then so that a question could ask you, the pectoralis major is blank in juxtaposition to the rectus abdominis. And an answer would be distal, it would be proximal, it would be superior, or it would be inferior. And what
superior.
would good. So just having that foundation for that terminology is really important, because when you're reading a question, you don't understand one of those terms and we just choose an answer. And then we like to get into the planes of motion. If we find every single person that I've interviewed who's failed, I start with the basics, then I get into the OPT model, and then I go over overactive and underactive. Every single person who failed, one, didn't have our guide or didn't listen to us exactly what we said. So go back to that analogy with the teacher's aide. If I'm trying to learn chapter 2 and I'm like, I really don't get this, and the teacher aide said, stop fucking around, don't read that, get into chapter 4, really know that. And I say, well, I don't believe you, buddy. I'm going to spend the next 4 days reading chapter 2. And then when he quizzes me afterwards and I failed, great, you did well on 2, but you didn't do very well on the chapters that mean a lot. That's the OPT model. That's periodization. That's going to be the basics. So if they were to ask you, your client's doing a bench press, what is the synergist for this exercise? Your pectoralis major, your triceps brachii, your biceps brachii, or your latissimus dorsi?
Press. No, because these are agonists. Triceps are antagonists, right? Man.
You know what's going to happen? Nick's having a great conversation with me.
I'm trying.
Okay, I like it. I don't have
Is it your man? I can't remember. And I listened to your podcast like a million times, and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm like,
and this
so
is what you're going to find really helps you on the exam, because what I'm doing right now is I'm not putting the answers in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost challenging you to do it without seeing it. So when you do take the exam, it's significantly easier, because then you can think of it first and you go, okay, chest, triceps when I do a bench press. Well, which one's bigger? Chest is a little bigger.
Yep.
Therefore, chest is going to be more of your agonist. The synergist is going to be your triceps.
Here's the side trips.
Latissimus dorsi would be the antagonist.
Gotcha.
So when I do a chin up, your client, and what they like to do is they put in a lot of fluffy words that are irrelevant. Your client, Betsy, is a secretary, and she likes to wear high heels to work. When she's performing a chin up, what plane of motion is she in? So your mind's like, what the fuck? Why do I care about the high heels, secretary? Just what is it asking? What exercise is a chin up in? Plane of motion. And what would our answer be?
No one else.
I like the safe back there. If she doesn't pass her test, she has a whole arsenal of guns back there. She's ready to go. And there we go. It's all weights in there. I like it. So when I do a chin up, what is my grip?
Is it sagittal? Is it sagittal? Everything in front, sagittal?
Okay, you're
or
correct.
Frontal.
No,
Sagittal, right? It is sagittal because everything that's
go with your gut there. So first, let's identify the hand positioning when I do a chin up. Is it like this, or is it like this? Supinated, good. And when I do a supinated chin up, my elbow is flexing, my humerus is extending. The definition of sagittal, an imaginary line bisecting the body into right and left halves, allowing for flexion and extension. So a chin up would be a sagittal plane of motion. Whereas a pull up would have this type of grip. And what is that grip? I think I read your lips. It said pronated. It's going to be what plane of motion?
frontal.
Frontal. Nicely done. So that's part of today. We'll spend about, anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes helping you with questions that you have, most importantly, to fine tuning on that. You probably came across us either through the Facebook group that Ashley has, maybe you came across us through the podcast or some obnoxious drinking YouTubes that I have. I try to have fun with NASM just because it offends everyone, and I love offending people. I'm a personality on YouTube. I'm also a Gemini, so I got those multi-personalities. But our big intent is to get people to help people safely. And if your passion for fitness, it's not, as I wrote in my book, and my next book is going to have a bunch of questions in there for the exam, which should be out here in a couple of weeks. But sadly, as I've interviewed top managers at Equinox and Lifetime, because we have partnerships with them, 90% of textbook trainers quit within the first year. And it's because of, we've all heard of that imposter phenomena. We have that doubt because you look at any other profession, doctors, lawyers, physical therapists, dietitians, they go through some sort of hands-on learning, practice with proper supervision, and then they go and they come back and get feedback. Or what trainers do is, I look fucking amazing. I got a six-pack. I can help anyone get a six-pack. And your first client comes in and she has lateral elbow pain and her left knee hurts. And you go, oh shit, I don't know how to train you. Because everything that works for you doesn't work for everyone. So that's our goal, is we're here to help you get out there, get into the right positions, whether if you want to work at a gym, if you want to work independently, if you want to work online, create systems. We just did a job fair with Equinox here at the OC. They're the largest ones. And one of the things the manager said, what I thought was great, was I wish I had a company like you guys when we first started out, because it took me a good 5 years to really understand programming. You guys simplified it with your methodologies of your CCA, which teaches you to think on the fly. If you haven't sat in any of our classes, we have classes every day. They're live, they're recorded. We have ones specific for Equinox and Lifetime and Crunch, how you can build clients there, anatomy, programming. Those are the biggest areas that we see. Ashley's gone through the program. She's an instructor and doing great. And I'm going to hand the floor off over to her because my liver can only handle so much NASM. So the floor is yours, Ashley.
Thanks, Chris. Well, hey, everybody, I'm Ashley. If you did come from the Facebook group, we've had that around almost a year now. And we have over 700 people in there who are just like you and me, trainers, aspiring trainers who want to better themselves and find the right path to enhance your career. And when I first started looking at NASM, I was like, oh, this is the gold standard. You know, everything that I verified and searched was showing up NASM. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go for it. And I got an elite bundle. I spent thousands of dollars, which my husband was so happy to support me in. But at the same time, after I found Chris and the study guide after 6 months and got stuck at chapter 5, because, you know, this book is big. And I don't know if you've seen the certified nutrition book, it's even bigger. I got really overwhelmed and I needed help. And so I started searching for study help on YouTube, much like many of you probably have. Found Chris, got the study guide, passed in 2 weeks on the first try. And I don't think it was because I'm anything special or a unicorn. I think it was because it trimmed the fat. It brought up the top topics that you really need to focus on to pass the test. And then when I started looking into the actual curriculum of like, is this teaching me how to actually program? Because if you look at the OPT model and you look at the warm-ups and the time it takes to take someone through single leg exercises and SMR and myofascial release and foam rolling and all of that to fix their syndromes, sometimes those warm-ups, you're in them for 35 minutes, 40 minutes almost. Do you think that your clients are going to return to you because you're helping them get stronger, working all of the core movement patterns? And so I think the answer is no. I mean, if you go and look at the workouts in there, they want you to focus on the acute variables around resistance, right? Rest, reps, tempo, intensity, frontal, horizontal loading, like all those things. And so many people like me was like, how am I memorizing all of these acute variables for a textbook test? Is this going to actually help me with anatomy, programming, how to build a book of business, how to interview at a gym, a big box gym, how to put my resume together? What do I do if someone comes to me with some muscle compensations and they're like, oh, well, I want a 4-day split versus just a full body program. And you're like, okay, let me go and turn back to the OPT model. Which phase are they going to be in? Do they need hypertrophy, which is what phase? What phase is yeah, 3? Or are they in a lot of pain? So do they need to get on a Bosu ball and do some single leg stuff? I don't know. So I was a college athlete. I played volleyball for forever, and I partially tore my ACL in my knee. And I went through physical therapy, and I spent a lot of time on a Bosu ball. I spent a lot of time doing single leg exercises, strengthening my tendons and ligaments, and trying to get my knee stable enough to be able to handle a load. But do I need to put all of my joints and all of that onto a Bosu ball for that period of time? No, that's more of a physical therapy approach. You need to program for Gen Pop, right? And that means simply tactical cueing, trainer engagement, and helping them get stronger so that they can lift heavier loads and can prevent injury. We teach going outside of your scope of practice to work with a physical therapist and to work with registered dietitians so that you can get to what you're really going to be really good at, and that is strength training and the frontline prevention of injury, working with physical therapists and registered dietitians. So that's a long story to say I'm very honored that I have found Show Up Fitness, because it is making a way for you to be a great trainer and to know exactly what you need to know in order to go forward in your career, whether this is a side hustle for you or if you're wanting this to be a full-time career. The reason I say all of that is because some of the stuff in this book is going to be great if you get injured. So don't throw it away. You can use it as a coaster for your coffee or something for a while. But if you really want to know how to program, you're going to want to learn the 17 muscles around the shoulder. You're going to want to learn the 20 plus muscles around the hip. You're going to need to know your core movement patterns and the actions of those muscles so that no matter who comes to you at any time, you're going to be able to program for them on the spot based on their capabilities. So that leads me to the overhead squat assessment, because some people look at the book and they look at overactive and underactive muscles, and then they look at the overhead squat assessment, and there's all these overactive and underactive muscles built in the overhead squat assessment. And you're like, how are they related? The overhead squat assessment and assessing a client and being able to progress and regress them according to NASM is definitely something that you're going to want to pay attention to. And then afterwards, according to wherever you work at, if they're having you take clients through the FMS or the overhead squat, or they're kind of giving you free rein and you're going to just kind of see how they move and make sure that they don't have hypertension and don't need to go to the hospital or something, it's good to know what is going to be expected of you at the place that you want to work. So cater how you assess a client based on what is required of you and what you want to do. You definitely want to have an intake assessment, the PAR-Q. Do you guys know what the PAR-Q stands for? Who knows it? You can drop it in the chat too if you don't feel comfortable unmuting. Oh, I see there's some chat. Oh, same girl.
Questionnaire.
Say it again.
Questionnaire.
Well, the PARQ.
Is it the physical assessment readiness questionnaire?
Yes, exactly. The reason I ask you that is because you might get a question that is similar to that on the exam, and they might give you 3 ridiculous wrong answers. 2 of them you'll probably be able to eliminate rather quickly, and then 2 possible right answers. That's the way you're going to be tested on this proctored exam. And so if you get into the habit of exposing yourself to this information, seeing it, hearing it, speaking it, writing it, exposing yourself to it, repetition, repetition, repetition. That way, when you see it on a multiple choice exam, you're going to be able to tell right away what it's not, which that's how scientists work too. Sometimes in studies is they identify what is based on what it's not. You're going to be able to have at least a 50-50 chance of getting that question right, even if you don't truly remember what they're asking for. So back to overhead squat. It is a movement assessment designed to assess dynamic posture, because NASM is obsessed with posture, core stability, and neuromuscular control of the whole body during a squatting motion. So they are going to be expecting you to check how many checkpoints for NASM?
5.
5. And do you remember what they are? I'm a mom, so I always have the song Head, Shoulders, Knees, and Toes in my head. That always helps me. So, yep, knees, ankles. What else?
Hip, shoulders, or
Shoulders,
head.
head.
Did I give you the hips, the LPHC?
There you go. That's what I was looking for. So what does LPHC stand for?
Lumbo-pelvic hip complex.
Lumbopelvic hip complex. Yes. And so they're going to have you put the client in a position where their arms are up for 5 reps, checking these kinetic chain points. Now we actually have 10. NASM only cares about 5. They seem to leave some things out. It's like the all of the actions of the scapula, right, and the shoulder. NASM only says 4. There's actually 8. You know, how much anatomy you want to learn for your clients, I guess it's up to you. I would rather know all of the anatomy than not. And so you're going to have a client with their arms up, take off their shoes. They're going to be barefoot so you can look at their movement patterns, right? Upright position, checking for compensations. And this is where some of the most common overactive and underactive muscles come into play. So if you get the Show Up Fitness study guide, there is a table in here that goes over the most common overactive and underactive muscles that you're going to want to know. This table is also in the book, although I don't suggest that you buy that book. They make you buy it, even though you've spent thousands of dollars for your certification, especially if you've gotten an elite bundle. But that chart is in our study guide. If you decide that you want to get the study guide, it's $199, or you can get into the level 0 for our NASM program with Show Up Fitness for $100 a month. I actually have a discount code that'll give you $25 off if you're already in it. Awesome. You're going to start seeing the videos that are pre-recorded in our on-demand app. That makes it so simple for you guys to absorb this information and get the repetition that you need to memorize some of this stuff. Because I can sit here and I can give you all of the overactive muscles and all of the underactive muscles and tell you to flashcard all of them. The way I would do it is I would say anterior tibialis on one side and I would say underactive on the other side. If you have joined any of our calls before, you know that NASM loves to call underactive muscles lengthened and weak, and overactive muscles short and tight. That's the way they will describe them to you most likely on the exam when they're giving you a client scenario. You knowing the anatomical locations is really important. We talked, or Chris brought up a few of them: proximal, distal, anterior, posterior, medial, lateral, superficial, superior, inferior. NASM is going to describe to you a client scenario where they give you anatomical locations and describe certain muscles as either lengthened and weak or short and tight. And you're going to have to answer their question. My suggestion to you in a situation like that is that when they ask you the question, identify what exactly they're asking for first, and all the other details that they give you around that, fill them in after you've identified what it is they're asking for. Are they asking for a muscle? Are they asking for a remedy for posture? I'm rolling my eyes. So if you want some visuals on the overhead squat assessment and you have the book, it's on page 391. You don't need the book necessarily. If you need more help with that, let me know. Send me a DM either on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, I have 2 Instagrams, the.ashley.garcia or _driven_fitness. Driven Fitness. If you can't find it, message me on Facebook. I'm Ashley Kellum Garcia. But You're checking for muscle compensations and identifying overactive and underactive muscles within the overhead squat assessment. And why would you do that? First of all, I would be keeping that to myself internally, knowing that they need to strengthen these areas by simply doing them more. Okay. NASM wants you to fix it by foam rolling, stretching, and getting stronger. And they want you to progress and regress according to their exercises within the OPT model based on their capabilities that you identified in the overhead squat assessment. So you're looking for a stabilization and endurance. For foam rolling, how long do they want you to foam roll in order to loosen up these tight and short overactive muscles?
5 to 10 minutes? Or is it?
That will be a long time. Let's say your gastrocnemius is overactive and you had them foam roll that. You would have
30
them,
seconds?
there you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Basically 20 to 40 seconds. No one will want to train with you ever again if you do that. Although I will say there is something to foam rolling in terms of the short term and making people feel better. There is some anecdotal evidence on that, but it's not necessarily fixing the issue. When I have something that's really tight, yeah, I get my Theragun out. It makes me feel a little bit better, increases blood flow. There's something to that. I had shoulder surgery, I had a slap tear repair. It's so cool that I went through the level 1 because now for Show Up Fitness, because now I actually know what a slap tear is. A tear of the labrum, and I know exactly where it is because of the anatomical terms that they learn. If I had known this when I had my surgery, I could have had a very intelligent conversation with my surgeon, and I could have understood a little bit better and been an advocate too for my own health. Because after my surgery, a nurse came in and told me that I needed to bend over and do shoulder rotations. Well, my surgeon had told me to stay put for 8 weeks. So it's good to know anatomy as a trainer because you will be able to have these intelligent conversations with other medical professionals who will respect you. This is kind of off topic from NASM, but if you have that capability and you know anatomy, you'll then be able to establish this relationship and maybe have a I'll send you somebody, you send me somebody for money with a physical therapist, with a registered dietitian, with their doctor, so that you can have that intelligent conversation and continue to prevent injury for your client. Everybody will want you to be their personal trainer if you do that. So let's see. Progressions and regressions. So this is something that you may or may not see on your exam. They're going to want you to know some of the progressions within the OPT model from phase 1 to phase 5. And for the core, that could be anything from a ball bridge to a ball crunch to a medicine ball pullover. And so you guys being able to identify them based on NASM's mentality around the level of difficulty versus it going from easy to hardest, regression to progression is going to be something you might see. If you're needing specific examples of this, let me know. I can spend more time with you going through where those are. If you are within your 30-day period, it might be worth it for you to call and get a refund for NASM, because Show Up Fitness actually has partnerships with Equinox and Lifetime. I know Chris touched on that. If you know what you want to do with your career, whether that's being an online trainer like myself, I have a home gym. I also do everything online. I have an amazing app that I found that helps me give programs and coaching directly online. One of the reasons is because I'm a military wife and I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I live pretty far from the closest Equinox or Lifetime, which is where I would want to probably work if I was to go back into a corporate gym environment. But I know that. And so I know that, number one, because of the quality of Show Up Fitness, the anatomy and the programming has set me up to succeed without having to have a textbook cert. But if you are outside of your 30-day window for a refund, that's okay. I think getting this textbook certification is still valuable for you because some people really, really do care about those letters behind your name. And so getting this behind you quickly is something that we can help you do. If you want some one-on-one tutoring, I offer that as well. You can send me a DM. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have these Zooms for the level 0, which is our NASM classification for our tier with Show Up Fitness, which means you're going to be able to have access not only to the recorded calls that are in the app once you get your level 0, but you'll be able to jump on here and ask your questions as a group as well, which is really helpful. Don't try to memorize the 800 plus pages. I don't know if you remember, if you guys have a college degree and you had to go through a course like this, it usually took at least 6 months. We think that that's a waste of time, especially knowing some of the things that they completely disregard in terms of picking out the main topics for the test. I would rather you guys be earning income in the gym and earning while you're learning. So we're here to do that. Do you guys have any questions so far? Stages of change is another one that you might see. The reason is because behavior change is really big right now. It's really trendy. There are some other programs that focus hard on it that NASM wants to compete with, including programs like Precision Nutrition. They focus a lot on the stages of change and behavior change. And so do you guys know what the top stages of change are that they're going to want you to focus on?
We got the pre-contemplation stuff.
Yep.
Contemplation.
Yep.
I always forget the third one. And then I know it's action and then maintenance. Oh no, it's action, maintenance, termination, right?
Well, termination is like the unspoken 6th one, but the one that you're forgetting is the one that you're
the darn one I always forget.
Yeah.
Preparation. There it is.
The easiest way to study this is to look at the time frames and associate the time frame with the stage. So pre-contemplation is not planning to start within the next 6 months. Like the individual does not exercise, there's no plan, there's no intentionality there. That's pre-contemplation. Contemplation is planning to start within 6 months, but they don't currently exercise, and they don't exercise, but they know they should start. So that's contemplating. What do you think preparation is?
Exercising, but they're not doing anything like regularly, maybe. Just
right. So they've taken some steps, maybe they do it sporadically, they're planning on getting really consistent with it soon. And you, like if they were on an app and they were checking off the days in the month, you might see little bubbles every so often of them checking that off. And then what is action?
actually working out for within that 6 months.
Yes. So less than 6 months, they are exercising with plans and specific goals, and they've been doing it for less than 6 months. So that time frame is really important for you guys to memorize. I mean, if you're making a flashcard, on one side could be the stage of change, and then the other side could be the time frame. That's how I would memorize it. And then the last one you said is maintenance. And what's the time frame for that?
They've been exercising for 6+ months
Yep.
regularly.
Yep. And they're working to prevent relapse.
Yep.
Now, termination is if they just flat out quit. And then it reminds me of kind of the 4 P's of marketing, right? You probably saw that at the beginning chapters. If you have read the book or you're in the online platform, the 4 P's of marketing. Do you remember what those are?
Product, price, promotion. Planning, no.
Who knows it?
I can't get that last one. Product price promotion.
Place.
There you go.
What is it?
Place.
Place.
And I would add parking.
Parking.
I do for me,
Parking.
and I were to write my own exam, I would include parking, because if there's easy parking, then people are going to show up, right? And if there's not, then it's going to make it a little bit harder. So you see me explaining this in ways that I'm adding my own success experience to this. The way that I would approach the exam, and Chris touched on this earlier, is to think common sense. Once you've identified exactly what that question is asking you and you've eliminated the wrong answers, put yourself in the place of the trainer and put yourself in the place of the client. What makes the most sense? And that is going to help you make quick decisions. When you're in this exam, I would bookmark the ones that you don't know, because if you do the math, 120 questions within that time frame, you have about a little over a minute per question to make your decision. So during the exam, they're going to have a little time clock on the proctored exam on the software. You're going to be able to see how much time it's taking you. The ones that you know without a doubt, answer quickly, move on, do not return to them. The ones that you bookmark, don't sweat, because when you get through all the ones that you know quickly, then you can make, like, I don't care if you have to stand up and do like warrior pose and do a little twirl and whatever. They're going to give you a bathroom break if you need it. I took mine because I just needed to take a walk, clear my brain, come back to all of the bookmarked ones. And I was able to make a decision rather quickly, because when you're exposing your brain to this information, it's in there somewhere. It's just on you it's a matter of how much you're going to revisit the things that you're studying. If you get our study guide with the level 0, which is $100 a month, like I said, you get the study guide. It's included in that. So it makes a lot of sense for you to make that choice, because you get the online demand app, you get the study guide itself, and you get the recorded calls, and you get the live calls. And that makes a lot of sense. So reading through the study guide every day, you're exposing your brain to the information, doubling down on the top things to know, which is planes of motion, the OPT model and all of its acute variables within resistance, the overactive and underactive muscles, anatomical locations, the progressions and regressions, how to assess a client, the performance tests, and then the stages of change. If you double down on those, you're going to be in really good shape to pass this test rather quickly. Then you can take a deep breath and you can say, okay, do I really want to make this a part of my everyday in training a client? Then you can decide, we want to help you get this in the past so that you can get to training. Because once you get a CPT that gives you mentorship and teaches you anatomy and teaches you to program, at that point, you just go do. So if you're going to read the book, I would focus on chapter 4, chapter 7, chapters 11 through 13, chapters 16 through 18, and chapters 20 and 21. The way that I would use those is, once you get your study guide and you're listening to these calls and you're absorbing the YouTube content and you're listening to our podcast, if there's things that you just don't understand and you're having a hard time grasping, then open up the book, then read it in the chapter. It will make a lot more sense piecemealing it that way in its context, rather than going, Chapter 1, here's what a trainer does. Chapter 2, here's how the muscle spindles work. Chapter 3, Chapter 4, here's everything on the heart that only a heart surgeon would know. You know what I mean? So I hope this has been helpful. I would love to connect with each of you. In fact, we would love to hear a little bit about your goals and what you're looking for. So if you guys want to share and kind of tell us where you're from and how you found out about Show Up Fitness and what you want to do with your NASM certification, I would love to know, because it helps me know how to help you also.
So I'll go. From southeastern Connecticut. I own a indoor sports training facility. We do volleyball. We do AAU travel, basketball AAU travel. So we just got back from Boston with Nike. So you're probably familiar with that because you're volleyball, right?
Yes.
So my goal is, and it's all 18U, 17, 16 and stuff like that and down. So the goal is to have somebody in-house, and one of my employees here, she's a basketball coach. She's going through the same program right now as well, is to have something in-house where her and I can run this program, not only for, general population, but also just for our youth that come through here and give them some kind of longevity throughout their sports careers, should they go further than college or high school, something like that. So that's why I'm here. I found you guys a little too late, which was fine. Company bought the package for me, so I can't complain about that. But I do plan on looking into your online. Unfortunately, I'm out here in Connecticut, so I can't just attend your internship on in person. But I do want to do the online one, which I think would be beneficial for programming and stuff like that. So, and that's unfortunate. That's where NASM, among other things, that's one of their downfalls, is that they don't have that brick and mortar where I can come to you, or even an internship or something like that.
Well, that's exactly right. And first of all, that is super generous of your company to invest in you. I think that's awesome. I am of the mentality that you can take the good and disregard what doesn't apply, and there's good wherever you look for it. So there are good things that are in that book. We're not against NASM. We just want to do it better, right? And we are doing it better because trainers who are show up fitness trainers, they last, their careers last. And so there's a reason that's the case. Second of all, we are always looking for new locations to host seminars in. So if you want to send me a DM, maybe we can have a conversation of us coming to you and planning that out in the future.
You guys are coming to New York soon too, right? April?
I don't have the event schedule that is in place that is set in stone, but if we can find a location that will host us, we plan it out, and if it makes sense, it happens. I've been to an in-person seminar over the weekend in Hawaii, not Hawaii, that's where I came from. Sorry, Miami. And we're always planning them everywhere because we also have show up fitness trainers in a lot of locations. So I'm on the East Coast, I'm outside of DC, so maybe let's communicate and we can put something together. This is one of those things where it's good to be connected, right? Maybe we can help you and maybe you can help us, and vice versa, to continue to have amazing trainers out there. So let's continue to talk about that.
What's the DM real quick? I'm sorry, I don't want to hold anyone up. But...
Oh, no, you're good. So if you want to find me on Instagram, it's the.ashley.garcia. You can also find me on Facebook, Ashley Kellum, Kellum Garcia. And you can also email me, drivenfitnessconsulting@gmail.com. And while you guys are sharing, I'm actually going to put that in the comments. And if you guys want to share your Instagram or the way that we could support you, drop it in the chat, and maybe we can all go follow each other and help each other. Who else? I would love to hear where you guys are from, what you want to do with your NASM.
I can go really quick. Sorry, I'm also at a chiropractor appointment. But my name is Jess, and I am from Las Vegas. And I started training myself with a personal trainer, and I had lost 200 pounds. And my mom had a lot of health problems. And I actually got into NASM because I wanted to be a trainer to help other more of the obese clients, because I feel like if somebody would have been there for my mom when she was going through all her problems, that she'd probably still be with us today. It's just, I feel like there's such a stigma about larger people and just, oh, well, they just need to eat better. They just need to do this. And I wanted to help more in that realm. So now, after I passed my test, I actually already secured a job working with UFC Fit, and it's just pending passing my NASM. But I still want to further my education because, like you said, like I feel like I'm not learning enough. They just throw a textbook at you with a bunch of stuff that they don't even test you on, and then you're expected to memorize all of it, and then you're not really going anywhere with it.
Exactly.
So,
Oh, I love your story. I love that. It's like you know exactly who you're ready to help, which is really powerful.
yeah.
I do think that if all of the curriculum that we were to teach and that we teach at Show Up Fitness were in a textbook, you know, it's one thing to read it, it's another thing to see it happening. And at least we know that our information is accurate to anatomy and with evidence that the programming works quickly, right? My thing with NASM is that some of the information is not exactly even accurate and has been scientifically outdated, hasn't been updated in a while. So I completely relate to what you're saying. And it's awesome that you're going to be able to just check that box and then get to it, which is what we want to help you guys do. If you need this to work and pass, let's get it done. I love that. Thank you guys for sharing. Who else wants to share?
I can go next.
Yay!
So actually, I have to go back in a few minutes because I'm on my lunch break. But I'm really passionate about fitness, and I actually have a friend who has her own physical therapy practice. So I've been doing I was a trainer for like about 7 years, and then I got into like a full-time job and like property management. So I kind of got sucked into that, and I got too busy to do the training stuff. So I ended up signing up in a program with NLCA where they kind of like coach you on like online fitness. So I'm like in the program now, and I just like relaunched. So I'm like getting my feet wet with learning like online fitness, but I do want to get like my NASM cert, and I'm working on that now. I'm from New Jersey, so if you guys are ever in the area, New Jersey, New York, I'm definitely down to taking a seminar. So I just want to be a really good trainer and a smart trainer. I want to know like what I need to do to really help someone, not just like train someone just because, like really understand like what you guys are saying, like the anatomy, program properly, so that way it's more about like their full health and how to optimize them. So yeah, I definitely would be interested in kind of linking all up and stuff, and yeah, learning more.
Where in New Jersey?
I'm in Hasbrook Heights, so really close to like Hackensack area.
Okay.
Yeah.
My husband graduated from Rutgers, so we lived in Edison for a while. I know where New Brunswick is, and
Oh yeah. That's not far at all.
It's not far.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate what you're saying about like wanting to learn more and wanting to learn the tools of the trade. And I think it's great that you are looking into what those can be. I think, when you have a mentorship and internship that teaches you that as well, it's helpful. It's helpful to know. So I got an elite bundle with NASM, and I'm actually taking all of the certs so I can compare them to what I'm doing now. And so I'm like walking the walk with you guys. And I have really enjoyed, I just enjoy learning anyway, but I've enjoyed learning the differences and kind of knowing what's what. And sometimes you don't know until you like go through it, right? So
yeah.
just want to take every opportunity to be able to network with as many people as I can. And if that means, rubbing shoulders with some NASM folk, I think it's great. Take the good and disregard what doesn't apply.
I'll go next. I'm from South Carolina, and I actually found Ashley, I think, through the Facebook group. I'm not really sure at this point when I got into that group. I kind of ignored for a long time. And then actually somehow you and I became friends. And I don't know, I realized you were like a real person, I think. So I started kind of becoming interested in seeing things. But I also, I'm a hairstylist, have been for 16 years. I kind of do it part-time. We have a little boy who's now 7. And I love health and fitness. It's something I did CrossFit for years, and I was in a small town. So let me go ahead and say that, so everybody knows everyone. If you've heard of Presbyterian College, it's a small college in our town, Clinton, South Carolina. Well, the football coach from there recently took over our YMCA, and I did his wife and all of his daughter's hair for years. And he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, Lindsay," he's like, "I know you're doing hair part-time. Would you like to come on as our personal trainer and start back up our program here?" And I was like, "Why me? Like, do you realize, like, I mean, everybody looks to me like to help them train and stuff, but I'm not certified. We'll pay for your training, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Well, sweet, like that may be, I've always kind of wanted to do this." So my husband was like, "Well, we'll just think about it, pray about it. If it's something you want to do, run with it." And he was all for it. So I've been working there for 2 years. And I'm loving it. I'm with y'all. Like, I just want to help more people. It's kind of what I do in the salon. I still work there. I just left there, jumped on this. Just making people feel better about themselves. And in fitness, I feel like, and you can just kind of put, your training to use as not just feeling better, but they're going to live longer, and they're going to, it's more of a lifetime commitment. So I've seen a lot of people come to the gym in 2 years, and like y'all said, not one size fits all. I mean, like you're saying, the foam roll and all that. How do you go through all that with one person in 30 minutes when that's all they have to give you in a day? You can't. So I really got interested in this because of that. And I hope that I'll be able to also do like you, Ashley, and go through the show of fitness after passing this really obnoxious test that I failed with 1 point. So,
I love it. And you talking about like the environment in the gym and training somebody and helping them for their specific issue, you guys might go into the gym and find that the program that you wrote, either you can't do it because people are using the equipment and it's really, really crowded, and suddenly the plan that you had, you're not going to be able to carry it through, or maybe your client comes in and they're in pain, or maybe they're hungover or something, I don't know. And so you have to be able to adjust on the fly. And if you don't know the core movement patterns and how to progress and regress within those, and you're only programming per exercise, you're going to struggle. And so what we teach you is how to program so that no matter what a client throws at you, no matter what the environment throws at you, you're going to be able to adjust rather quickly. And it's going to set you so far above what you see out there. Knowing your anatomy, knowing how to program that way is going to set you up for success no matter what is thrown at you. And we love to see trainers succeed and do it rather quickly. Like if you know the CCA way of programming and hitting at least 6 core movement patterns in the workout that you're taking a client through, man, people are going to be like, "How are you selling so many personal training packages?" Like, well, I get results fast. I don't know what to say, right? So I love that, Lindsay. It's so nice to talk to you over Zoom. I feel like we're in person or something. I am a real person. I'm not a bot. And you would be surprised that some of the people that I come across and have to kick out of the group because of what they say. But if you, like, I hear what you guys are saying in terms of you wanting to stay involved and you wanting to connect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the link to the level 0. Here we go. Just so you guys haven't, if you want to go secret shop it or something, that's the link to go look at the level 0 and the different tiers that we have. Is it Nick or Nicholas? Which do you prefer?
Nick.
Nick. You talked about wanting to, have a really high quality certification. If you're going to continue to research that, the CSCS is amazing, especially for sports, the strength and conditioning cert, that is legit. Their book is legit. So I think it is worth even having the book at your, convenience to have it. But you'll see the different tiers that we offer in there, even helping people study for the CSCS. And if you decide that you want to go for it, I have a discount code. It's Ashley25. If you want to use that to get $25 off your first month, that subscription is easy to turn on and to turn off. It's super easy. We find that a lot of people, like once they get in, they want to stay in because they love having access to our robust exercise library that's in there. We have a partnership with the Prehab Guys. I don't know if you've heard of them before on Instagram. Go look up Prehab Guys. They are incredible for how they help people get out of pain. They're physical therapists. We have a partnership with them because it makes sense for us to do what we're good at and for them to do what they're good at, and having access to their mentality around preparing the body for fitness. So, well, we have about 4 minutes left. I would love to hear from the rest of you guys too. And I'm just excited to meet you all. This has been really fun.
I'll go next. So my name's Devin. I'm from Indiana. I'm like 45 minutes to an hour from Chicago. So I actually joined NASM on Friday. I did some research and I really wasn't sure what cert to do. So I went on Indeed and I just searched for personal trainer jobs that were near me. And a lot of them we're looking for ISSA and NASM. That's not really what exactly I want to do, but I feel like I've only personally myself been in the gym for a year and a half. I've slowly overcome the anxiety. I've lost a ton of weight. I'm training a friend now. But overall, at the end of the day, is what I really want to focus on is moms and postpartum and prenatal. So I felt like NASM could do that for me. But then now I'm like looking for, I'm looking at Show Up Fitness now, and I'm like, well, maybe that, because I'm not the Bosu ball person. I'm the person you need to go lift a weight. So that part makes me super nervous. And then watching a lot of the Show Up Fitness stuff, I started listening to his podcast, and I started with the chapter 1 and 2 review YouTube video yesterday. So I'm very nervous that I'm not in the right path, to be honest. But I'm just going to keep going, I feel like, because I feel like it'll get me to the right path. But the whole NASM, I guess, people bashing it constantly is like also in the back of my head. And I'm like, am I in the right? Am I not? That's where I'm at right now.
Did you only get the CPT or did you get the Elite bundle?
I did the Elite bundle to do the personal training, but to also focus on women's fitness, corrective exercises, and nutrition.
Okay. I'm going to give you your options and you take what applies and you feel good about your choice, because regardless.
I was going to reach out to you after this to be like, am I doing the right thing?
Well, I will take a second to say, like, if you are within your 30 days and you know that you're not necessarily going to go work at a big box gym that requires an accredited certification outright, then I probably would. If it were me again and I had been in within my 30 days, I would go get a refund and I would get with Show Up Fitness, because we offer nutrition, we offer everything that you would need to know to be able to train somebody safely, including teaching you how to take your business online. Okay. Those are valuable trade skills. And so, I mean, I coach trainers on how to take their businesses online. I'm a big believer in doing what is best for you. You already know your niche. You already know who you want to help. And so if Nick and I were just talking about the CSCS, that is something that you go to a university and they would check that box and say, okay, we'll consider your application because of the CSCS. They wouldn't necessarily feel that way with something that wasn't accredited. The accreditation process basically ensures that the testing process can be duplicated. It's not necessarily evaluating the content that is being tested. So when these gyms are choosing accredited programs, they think that it's the gold standard, but what they don't realize is that the accreditation doesn't test the quality of the content. They test the quality of the testing procedure so that there's not any bias. So we are in the process of being accredited because we understand that it's important to, you know, institutions. But I mean, going the show up fitness route, if you were to get a refund, it would save you thousands of dollars.
Okay. Maybe could we connect maybe a little later?
Yep, you got
On
it.
Messenger?
I'll send you a
Okay.
message.
Perfect.
Because basically, if you're going down the route where you're wanting to expand your sources of income and your streams of income, being able to have something that teaches you how to do that from the get-go while also teaching you anatomy and programming is going to be a good deal, especially when it's less money.
And I've done nursing school, so like a lot of this is a refresher for me. I haven't really dived in because part of me has just been panicking. Haven't been did I take the right route?
Yep.
So I've only read a little bit. I haven't really done too much, but it's been a good refresher.
You are not alone. So I'm so thankful each one of you jumped on this Zoom, because I want you to know that you've got a wing woman now. You got a wingman with Chris, and you got me. And so we're gonna help you guys reach your goals. And don't feel ashamed if you like NASM. Okay, there's no shame in that game. Like, take the good. If you want to go through it, get it. If you want to find an alternative that's cheaper and will prepare you more in certain areas, then, you know, we can talk about that too. I'm actually doing both because I spent thousands of dollars. I'm outside of my refund window and I'm just making the best of it, right? And I guess it's a plus in some circles for me to have a bunch of letters behind my name. That doesn't matter if you don't know anatomy and you're hurting people. So I like to use every opportunity to make good and make whatever my environment is better. And if that means that I can make good use of the time that I put into NASM, and now I'm getting to help you guys, which is so valuable, then let's do it. But Show Up Fitness is where great trainers are made. And that is why we help people pass their textbook certs, so that we can get them on the right path and not feel ashamed about anything that they've done prior that brought them to this point. So there's a reason we met. I'm super thankful for it. I'm going to go ahead and jump off and end the Zoom. If you guys want to reach out to me, I'm an open book. I am a real person. And if you want to join the Facebook group, let me drop that in the chat really quick. And I know that it says Women's NASM CPT Study Group, but it's not exclusive to females if you need to pass NASM, like I help everybody. Okay. Well, you guys have a great day. Thanks for showing up. Let me know if you need anything, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.